So recently, I saw an interview clip where Elon Musk was trying to explain his issues with diversity, equity, and inclusion. I imagine if someone wants to understand what I'm referencing, the interviewer was Don Lemon. I don't know how old the interview is, but if you Google Don Lemon and Elon Musk together, I'm sure this interview will come up. But anyway, Elon Musk was explaining that he had issues with diversity, equity, and inclusion because he feels like if someone is in an operating room, I may be paraphrasing very much, but if someone is in an operating room and they have a surgeon who has benefited from diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, the surgeon is not going to be as prepared because the standards have been lowered for that particular surgeon. And, if you're curious about how the interview played out, like I said, please Google it. But so here's the thing: when you go into an explanation with faulty information, now I don't know, I have no evidence one way or the other if Elon Musk is only pretending not to understand diversity, equity, and inclusion, or if somehow he has gained an international stage by being that clueless and struggling that much with comprehension. I don't know what the scenario is, but what I do know is diversity, equity, and inclusion programs have to do with expanding the opportunities for people to have the chance to come in and work their butts off. It is not, well, you're taking your last medical school exam, so if you benefited from diversity, equity, and inclusion, you get to sit in this corner and you only have to get a 50%, but everybody else has to sit in this corner and get 100%.
Right.
How dumb, like for real though. How many people actually think that's what's going on? I'll go back to what we were talking about earlier. With the president's official residence, and I mean any president, not just the current president. The official residence is the White House. Do we all know who built the White House? I'm not saying who came up with the architectural plans or whatever. They could have done that as well, but we know that enslaved people built the White House from the ground up. So, if what you're saying is genetically enslaved people are inferior, and the generations that have sprung from enslaved people are all incompetent. Personally, if I was the president, I would be afraid to sleep at night because, maybe because all these incompetent people built my house, it might just cave in on me in the middle of the night. Like, that's the kind of logic that we're talking about, and it's not logical. So I'm not talking to President Trump right now. He's who he is, doing what he does. I'm not talking to Elon Musk right now. I'm talking to the voters in the United States of America who, fun fact, did not vote for Elon Musk for anything, but I digress. The people who voted for this type of air quote leadership, I hope it does not take 4 years, because that's going to be one heck of a lesson. But if it takes 4 years, at the end of that 4 years, I'm hoping that someone has a wake-up call. Like, wake up, woke. Don't let them make you hate the word woke. I don't know what you heard, but the opposite of that is sleep. Are you asleep? Are you sleepwalking while your pockets are being picked by people who don't pay taxes at all? Is that you that I'm speaking to right now? That's all I'm saying. Pay attention and stop letting people play you for the okie doke. That is, to me, that's what the halftime show said. To me, watching a team that on the wink wink is, pro MAGA and pro this and pro that, again, look it up. Watching them get obliterated by another team, yeah, that fed my spirit. And I'm not embarrassed to say it. Because for me, and I have some very close friends who I love dearly, who are Kansas City Chiefs fans. So, no disrespect. But I'm not even talking about the team so much as I'm talking about the rhetoric that has been built around that team that they seem to embrace, that the President of the United States seems to embrace. So, yeah, sometimes we do need a wake up call. Um, so, wake up, woke, however you want to get up, alarm clock, bell, whatever, however you want to look at it. Sometimes we need that as a people.
I agree. Yeah, I definitely I concur with most of what you said, and I just think it's I've had going back to the halftime show. I talked with a few people that I know who were Kansas City Chiefs fans, but also some people who weren't necessarily concerned about the game that also just could not seem to get past that halftime show. It wasn't good. I didn't get it. And that's what a lot of people who are Donald Trump fans, conservatives, that's just, they're always on that side of history. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's about freaking George Floyd or taxes or whatever. And like you said, we really shouldn't be that asleep at the wheel as a country to not understand what's happening. But I feel like so many people are awake and they're just waiting for Jesus to take the wheel, because that's really what we're looking at when it comes to voting for someone that is basically against your interests from day one. He calls you the uneducated because that's who he needs to vote for him. He loves them. And he says all of that, and you're worried about Biden, who's over here just doing his job, has experience. And you can say what you will about the economy, how that was affected, whether the person that's in power is affecting the economy, or the last 4 years, how that affected this, whatever. Of course, these people always like to use whatever's going on to their advantage. So when gas was expensive, it was Biden's fault. Or it was, when gas was cheap under Biden, it was Trump's fault. And then when gas skyrocketed, it was Biden's fault. And now gas is back down. It's because Trump came in 2 days ago and fixed it. I mean, you have to pick what facts you want to use. And for the longest, these people basically use their facts when they want to. They basically use the Fox News way of thinking. So this stuff doesn't make any sense, but we're going to say it anyway, and it's the truth. And then when things actually are true that are going with our narrative, then we just want to beat that into the ground. And that's what I feel like you're saying with everything, because I know a lot of Kansas City Chiefs fans who were all pro Kansas City, and that's all they were talking about until the Super Bowl. And then the day after, it's like, what about your team? And they're like, oh, they weren't going to win anyway, or it doesn't matter, or the refs cheated, all this stuff. Like, if you get beat, you get beat. And I think that's one thing that we have to realize as a society.
Wait, the refs cheated? I didn't hear that one anyway. I'm sorry, we have to realize as a society.
We have to realize as a society that, first of all, we all have biases. We all have certain ways of thinking. But when you're wrong, you're wrong. And I think as Americans, we never can get to that point, as a whole, where if we're wrong about something, we take accountability. It's either, no, we weren't wrong because they did this, or just like in politics, it's never, we made a bad decision. Well, what was he going to do? What did he do? Look at what he did. It could have been worse. Instead of just being like, yo, I messed up. I need to fix it.